Hello, welcome to Math with Mr. Dobrescu, to the rescue. Today we are going to continue to find the cube roots of numbers, but in this case we are going to use prime factorization to find that cube root. So we are going to use a factor tree. Okay, so for example, to find the cube root of 216, to find those three numbers multiplied by itself 3 times would give you that number. Okay, to find the cube root. Now we are going to use a factor tree. So now we are going to break 216 into its prime factorization. Okay? And we always start, we look at the end, 6 divides 2. Always start with a smaller number there that can be a factor, which is 2. So let's divide 216 divided by 2. And to find that answer, we are going to look at half of 216. We know that half of 200 is 100 and half of 16 is 8, so that's going to be 108. And again, we can divide 108 by 2 because 8 divides 2. So again, half of 100 is 50 and half of 8 is 4, so the answer here would be 54. And let's continue with the 2 again. Half of 54. Half of 50 is 25, half of 4 is 2. 25 plus 2 is 27. Now we cannot do the 2 because 7 does not divide 2. But we know that if we add 2 plus 7, we get a 9. And 9 divides 3. So now let's divide 27 by 3. And that's become a 9. And of course, 9 can be broken down as 3 times 3. And now let's circle all the prime little numbers here we got. So we got the 2, we got another 2, we got another 2, and then 3, 3, and another 3. So now, to find the cube root of 216 can be written as, now let's regroup these, all the little prime numbers. Let's group the 2 and the 3 together. 2 and the 3 and another 2 and another 3 here. So we can have 2 times 3 in a group times 2 times 3 in a group and times 2 times 3 in a group. Okay, and let's see what we get. 2 times 3 becomes 6. So this can be written as cube root of 6 times 6 times 6. And now that can be written as cube root of 6 to the third power, right? Cube root 6 to the third power. And now we know that we can cancel the exponents and the final answer is just 6. So cube root of 216 is just 6. Okay? And this is because we used the factor tree. Again, remember, cube root of 216 becomes cube root of 6 times 6 times 6. And that becomes cube root of 6 to the third power, and here we cancel the exponents, and the final answer is just the 6. Okay, not very complicated, but please remember how to use the prime factorization. Break that number into its prime factors. Let's continue at another example here. Cube root of 1,000. It's kind of easy. Many of you can get the answer really fast. But again, let's use a factor tree. And we know that 1,000 divides 10. Let's go by 10 now because we know 1,000 divides 10 and that becomes 100. And now we know that 100 divides 10 times 10. So cube root of 1,000 can be written as cube root of 10 times 10 times 10. Or we can say cube root of 10 to the power of 3. And remember, from this group of 3, only one is going to come out as the answer. So the final answer is 10. Remember, only 10 comes out as the answer. So again, the 3 numbers multiplied together are 10 times 10 times 10 to give you 1,000. If we have a square, actually a cube in our head, right? The edge of that cube is 10. Let's continue on with our final example here. Now here we have 3,375, and here I'm going to use a calculator. We can do long division, but because of time, we are just going to use the calculator. But now we know a really good fact any number that ends up in 0 or 5 is divisible by 5. Of course. So let's divide these by 5 and see what we get. So the number is 3,375 divided by 5 equals 675. 675. And again, 675 has a 5 at the end, so we can continue with another 5 divided by 5. So divided by 5, and we get 135. 135. And again, 135 has 5 at the end, so we can divide by 5 again. So let's divide that number by 5, and we get 27. Okay, now we get 27. But 27 is not divisible by 5. But we know again that if we add 2 plus 7, we get 9. Therefore, 27 divides 3. So let's divide 3 now. 27 divided by 3 becomes 9. And 9 can be written as 3 times 3. And now let's circle all these prime numbers in this bigger number, right? All the prime factors. Okay, so we have 3 5s and 3 3s, and we can regroup again. So cube root of 3,375 can be written as, let's regroup a 5 and a 3, another 5 and a 3, and the last 5 and these 3 together. So we can write as 5 times 3 in a group, times another 5 times 3 in a group, and times another 5 times 3 in a group. And this becomes, 5 times 3 is 15. So this becomes cube root of 15 times 15 and times 15, right? Or we can say cube root of 15 cubed, or to the third power. And now remember, we can cancel the 3's. Let's cancel those 3's. And the final answer is just 15. So cube root of 3,375 is actually 15. And again, if you imagine that cube in your head, right? And the volume of that cube is 3,375. One edge of that cube is just 15, because the volume would be side times side times side. So 15 times 15 and times 15, it gives us 3,375. Thank you all so much for watching. Now you are more comfortable to use the prime factorization to find the cube roots of numbers. Thank you all so much again, and please don't forget to like and subscribe, and please share these videos with everyone so everyone can be proficient at finding cube roots. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best to you.